I was fighting, when can I get back to my normal self? When can I do the things that I used to do? When can I, and then now finally I'm like, no, I'm here, I'm settled. There's no sense in fighting, trying to get back to old me when this is my new me, and that I should just enjoy it. Hey guys, my name is Shayla. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, I talk about motherhood, I talk about pregnancy, we do things kind of natural, a little bit granola, hippie, cloth diapering, and hypnobabies and Montessori stuff. If you're into that, please subscribe. If you like this video, please like this video. I'm also on Instagram, HEYSHAYLA, where I do lots of stories and then some posts and stuff. I am starting up my podcast again. It's so nice because I get to communicate with someone and then like interview these really awesome people that I can't believe agreed to be on my podcast, and then share all the information that they share with me with you. So Hey Shayla comes back on November 1st, 2022 if you're watching this at a different time than that. Today I'm going to talk to you about 5 things that I've learned with my second baby in the first 6 months. 5 things we did differently and 5 things that we did the same. Let's get started. She's also crawling around on the floor here. First things first, before I even get into this, I don't think I would change anything about the first way that I did things. There was a lot of stress, a lot of confusion. Somebody asked the other day, they're like, what would you tell yourself with your first baby? And I was like, nothing. I had to go through everything that I went through. So it's not necessarily that I regret the things that I did. It's just that I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it a little bit differently this time. My first child got my most aggressive attention. Hyper-focused, like helicopter parent, researching all the things, making sure I did all the right things all the time. My second has gotten a mother who has taken on motherhood. My last video is actually about this, how I finally come into motherhood. There's a term called matrescence. Look it up. Apparently it takes 1.5 to 4 years to fully identify as a mother. And I'm 2.5 years in and I'm like, yeah, we're there. For the first 2 years, I was fighting, when can I get back to my normal self? When can I do the things that I used to do? When can I, and then now finally I'm like, no, I'm here, I'm settled. There's no sense in fighting, trying to get back to old me when this is my new me, and that I should just enjoy it instead of trying to figure out how to get through the day. No, let's go do stuff together. Let's enjoy each other's company. A book that helped a lot was How to Talk So Little Kids Listen. Changed my life, changed my relationship with my kid, and just has made everything that much more enjoyable. So that being said, my second now has somebody who's embraced motherhood and isn't so stressed out that things aren't working the way I thought they would, because things don't typically work out the way that you think they will. Okay, so thing number 1 of things that we do differently. You need so much less stuff than you think you do. I think in the US, it's just babies are a consumer thing, right? We need this, we need that, we need that. You don't. You don't. Nurseries, baby sleeps in your room for the first 6 months. So you really don't use nurseries. We don't use a crib, we use a floor bed. I have a few videos about that. So crib, bassinet, those things, a lot of people use them because they can be helpful, but they're not necessary. And I was pretty much all you need are diapers, some way to feed the baby, either via your boob. I don't use a pump, I don't use bottles, I literally just use my boob. And because of that, my kid doesn't take a bottle. So I'm kind of on a little bit of a leash there, but the first time I fought it, this time I'm like, it's great. I just get to feed her whenever. Toys. You can give them a spoon and all of a sudden it's this really sensory, cool new object. Montessori likes to stick to natural things, so metal, wood, leather, cotton materials, right? Not plastic. And most of the time, they think that regular items are better than toys. What are you doing down there? Well, right now she has my glasses carrier. You don't need as much stuff as you think you do. If I were to redo my registry for my first, I would make sure that I had a stroller that could be converted into a double stroller. I just got the Bob double running stroller and it's incredible. I was refusing the double stroller for so long and I finally got this and I love it. That I wouldn't buy with one kid, but I bought mine off Marketplace. You don't need as much stuff as you think you do. And it's better to get gift cards so that you can get the things that you need when you need them. All right, thing number 2, postpartum knowledge. Holy shamoly, did I not know anything about this. I was preparing for birth. I wasn't prepared for breastfeeding. I wasn't prepared for postpartum. Rest, let your body repair, feed it the food that it needs to be fed, and just chill. I was doing work the day after I gave birth because I was working for a company online. They're like, oh, we're actually having a sale. Can you get the emails out? And I was like, are you kidding me? I just gave birth yesterday, but I did it. You just need to rest. I gave myself 3 months of postpartum leave, so I didn't make any content for 3 months unless I was loving it and wanted to, but you just need to give yourself that time. You don't need to work out. You don't need to go on walks. You just need to lay down and bond with your baby. And I know that's really hard, but it's important. Number 3, now I know that everything's a phase. Literally everything. And an example of this was the car seats were right next to each other. Aaliyah was on one side, Ezzy was in the middle. And Aaliyah kept kicking Ezzy. She would just kick her in the car seat. And I was like, I'm gonna have to split these two up. And my mom was like, well, why don't you just give it a little time? She'll probably get bored with it eventually and stop kicking her. And I was like, you're so right. And it happened. She stopped kicking her. And if your baby's not sleeping well, bonk your face. Oh, it's okay. Oh, let me see. Yeah. She's getting to the mobile phase where she'll just like be sitting up, and I'm like, wow, you're sitting so well, and then she just goes boom and bangs her head on the floor. So I try to make sure that there's like blankets around her. So I usually do a pause, see if she reacts, and then I react. But it's all a phase. The good's a phase, so when they're sleeping incredibly well in like the first 3 months, if they are, know that that could change when they hit the 4-month sleep regression or the 5-month sleep regression, that everything might change. Or vice versa. If they're not sleeping well, they can start sleeping well. Just lots of stuff changes. But that has helped me a lot, because with my first, I used to think that whatever was going on, this is how it's gonna be forever. Like, it's gonna be like this forever. And with this one, I'm like, wow, I can't wait till this phase is over. With certain things, I'll be like, I can't wait till you sleep better, but I love how interactive you are. Everything's a phase, and now I know it. Sleep-wise, sleep was my biggest anxiety with my first. And I share this a lot because it was aggressive, because I would try and get her to sleep. I knew nothing about wake windows, so that's super helpful. I use the Huckleberry app to like track their sleep. So when she starts to get fussy, I'm like, you've only been awake for 20 minutes, so what is it? Maybe it's your diaper, maybe you're hungry, maybe you're this, but what if it's an hour and a half? I'm like, you're probably tired. And then we go down for sleep. With my first, I remember going to the pediatrician and be like, she doesn't nap during the day. And they're like, do you put her in a dark space when she's trying to nap? And I'm like, no, she always just falls asleep in the middle of the room. And they're like, well, she's 4 months now, so she might need like a dark space. I was like, oh. And so then I had to like start trying to get her to nap. But if she wouldn't nap, I would just be like, why won't you sleep? This is so frustrating. And I would call Seth and I was like, she's not taking a nap. And Seth is like, maybe she's not tired. And I'm like, but she's supposed to be tired based on her age in the wake window. With this one, I literally made a conscious decision to let it all go. All of it. Let it all go. I just trust that she's going to sleep when she needs to sleep. When she gets fussy around the hour and a half, I bring her in. I try and help her go to sleep. Usually she does right away. If it takes her like a half hour to 45 minutes, I call the nap. And I'm like, okay, we'll try again in 30 minutes to an hour. So we get up, we go. Sometimes we're like really on the move. With Aaliyah, it was during COVID, so we weren't going anywhere. One day I was tracking it. She usually gets about 4 hours, 3.5 to 4 hours of like naps during the day. 2 days in a row, she got 2 hours of naps. So she slept longer at night. But then the third day, she took 6 hours of nap time. I'm just like, okay, well, it's all gonna equal out. It's all gonna level out. Where before I would be like, this is gonna affect their development. Just let it go. And then in the beginning, because you can't really do much sleep training, which we don't really sleep train anyway, but you can't do anything with their sleep until about 5 or 6 months. So she was sleeping in the carrier, which I think helped to teach her to sleep without the boob necessarily. So now she can fall asleep in the carrier sometimes, but mostly we nurse to sleep. I lay down with her, side nurse her to sleep, and then I get up. It's amazing. But we started doing the eat, play, sleep. So I would feed her right away when she would wake up. We would play and get her tired, and then I'd try and get her to sleep in the carrier, and it worked. And so that I think helped a little bit with not needing the boob to fall asleep. This one prefers it. Aaliyah needed it. Oh, also the witching hour. The witching hour, in the first couple of months, it's the afternoon where they just cry for hours. Get them to sleep before that time. So start figuring out, okay, the witching hour starts at about 7. Try and get them to go to bed before that and encourage them to continue sleeping. They might wake up early, but that witching hour is so stressful. Aaliyah used to go to bed at 5 p.m. She would wake up at like 5:30 a.m. then, but it worked for us. This one I started putting to sleep earlier to skip the witching hour, and it worked. So give that a try if you are experiencing the witching hour. Number 5, independent playtime. Like I said, I was aggressively in Aaliyah's face all the time, being like, here, the ball goes in here, do this, here, oh, come here, Leah, blah, 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 blah. I would crawl around to show her how to crawl, to teach her how to crawl, because she probably needs to see it to understand how to do it. And like, so much just like, you. And I'm like, I don't know why I can't open the dishwasher. It's because if I wasn't near her, I felt like I was neglecting her. So there's a thing called RIE parenting, R-I-E. And it basically is just let them experience the world and let them have their own experience. And let everything that they experience is brand new. So a ball rolling away from them is an experience. You don't necessarily need to roll it back to them. Or the leaves shadow on the wall or something can be a brand new experience for them where you might not even see that, but just like letting them experience their world. She's hungry, so we're gonna do this quickly. And I do that a lot more with her because I have to. Because Aaliyah needs to go potty, or because Aaliyah needs to go down for her nap, or whatever. This one has a lot more independent play. And I think that will help her in the long run. I know. You're hungry. We're gonna do 5 things that we do the same as your sissy. What are 5 things that we do the same as your sissy? Thing number 1, we use a floor bed. I kind of mentioned that. We don't use a crib, we use a floor bed. These things I'm not doing to like do necessarily the Montessori way or like the granola way. They're literally the only thing that I figured out that's worked. She would nurse to sleep and then I was like, I can't transfer her to her crib. How am I supposed to? So I started out by putting her crib mattress on the floor, and then I was like, can I just do a floor bed? Looked it up, it's a thing. In a lot of places in the world, it is just, they're like, yeah, we just sleep with our babies, I don't know. So floor bed, it's a Montessori thing, it's also just a thing. So I have a twin mattress on the floor. It's pretty small, so she can't really get off of it, and if she does, it's fine. And I just side lay, nurse her to sleep. Thing number 2, we co-sleep. So she sleeps right in the bed with us. This was something that was a necessity with Aaliyah. I couldn't figure out how to get her to go to sleep without sleeping with us. I have an entire video on how to do it safely if you're interested in doing it, because most people end up doing it because their babies do sleep so well. So if you end up doing it, even if you weren't planning on it, at least know how to do it safely. Even if you don't plan on doing it long term, even if you do it 1 night or 2 nights, ever, just watch the video so you know how to do it safely. We already made a bunch of decisions like the delayed vaccines. We're doing the same thing with Ezzy. I read a book called The Vaccine Friendly Plan. Do your own research on that and you can decide for yourself. Thing number 4, cloth diapering. Yay! It's my favorite thing. I probably have 4 videos talking about how to choose a cloth diaper, how to wash a cloth diaper 1-year review, why we cloth diaper. We do 80-20 cloth diapers, so that means that we are cloth diapering most of the time. We don't do it at night, and we don't do it if we're like going somewhere. You can bring a wet bag, so you could do it. We just don't. And then number 5 is more of a pregnancy thing, but I did HypnoBirthing. Highly recommend it if you're looking for an unmedicated birth. Or I know people that have done it and had C-sections, and they're like, it helped me so much just to stay calm because it's a course and then it's audio. I also have a ton of videos on this, so it'll explain exactly what HypnoBabies is. But you do a course that explains like the birth process and different options that you have and what happens with each option, so that at least when they say these things, you're not like, what does that mean? You're like, oh, I kind of know what this means. Okay, we need a C-section, let's do it. I feel like a lot of time, from what I've heard with women who have C-sections, the ones that were educated about C-sections had a more positive experience with their C-sections than those who didn't accept it as an option and ended up getting one, because they knew what was going on and they knew their options and they knew why and they understood a little bit more. So HypnoBabies, I'm an affiliate with because I used it for your sister and I used it for you, and it was really, really great. Also, this baby's not a COVID baby. Aaliyah was fresh into COVID world when she was born, which just made everything more stressful. And this one I get to see more people, which I think helped with my mental health. We get to go more places and not be so stressed about illness, because Aaliyah brings home so much illness from daycare. So this one has been sick way more than Aaliyah has. Haven't you? She is hungry, so I'm gonna go feed her. I hope this video was helpful. Please share with me how you changed going from 1 to 2. Like with the co-sleeping, I can't fall asleep without my babies. Some people I know can't fall asleep with their babies in their bed. Like it stresses them out too much. So it's all relative to what works for your family. But I would love to hear things that you did differently for 2 than you did for 1. Okay, bye.